What if everything you've been taught about the history of architecture is a carefully crafted lie? Picture a global empire, Tartaria, a civilization of master builders whose magnificent structures, towering spires, colossal domes, and intricately carved stonework defy the technological capabilities of the 19th century and beyond, only to be erased from our collective memory. These weren't mere buildings, they were living systems engineered to harness the Earth's energy through spires that functioned as antennas for etheric energy, what modern science might call zero-point energy, domes that amplified specific frequencies for healing or even anti-gravity effects, and bells, not decorative but precision instruments tuned to reinforce structural integrity through harmonic resonance, a principle we now recognize as acoustic levitation, but which was second nature to these ancient architects. The most staggering evidence of their existence was displayed at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, known as the White City, a meticulously staged exhibition of stolen Tartarian technology, only to be systematically destroyed in suspicious fires and buried orchestrated cover-ups. The official narrative claims the fair's grand buildings, with their flawless stonework, massive scale, and advanced energy principles, were constructed in under 2 years by ordinary workers using basic tools, an impossible feat. Photographs from the era show these structures surrounded by mounds of dirt, as if excavated rather than built, and worker diaries describe ancient foundations and tunnels discovered beneath the fairgrounds, suggesting these were not new constructions, but restored relics of a much older civilization. The fair's electricity pavilion, adorned with ancient symbols and crowned with a spire identical to those on medieval cathedrals and Central Asian temples, wasn't a celebration of modern innovation, but a showcase of Tartarian energy technology. Witnesses reported strange lights emanating from the 300-foot spire of the administration building, crackling with unexplained atmospheric electricity during storms. And Nikola Tesla, who conducted energy experiments at the fair, later admitted he was rediscovering knowledge already known to an ancient civilization. The machinery hall housed engines supposedly running on compressed air that produced far more power than physically possible, likely etheric converters disguised as 19th century machinery. The Tartarians built their cities on sacred geometric patterns, aligning spires with ley lines, invisible energy channels crisscrossing the earth, to create harmonic networks that powered their society. Domes acted as resonators, amplifying frequencies that could influence weather, heal the sick, or, according to some accounts, enable levitation. But why was this hidden? A cataclysmic event, possibly a mudflood or electromagnetic disaster around 1810 to 1820, buried Tartarian cities under layers of debris, a geological upheaval often dismissed as poor drainage or changing street levels. Photographs from the 1800s show buildings half-submerged, with upper windows serving as ground-level entrances, and contemporary accounts describe massive excavation efforts. The surviving elite orchestrated a global cover-up, launching a restoration project that saw identical neoclassical architecture, spires, domes, and megalithic stonework, emerge simultaneously in capitals like Washington, D.C., London, Paris, and St. Petersburg. Petersburg, not as new constructions, but as Tartarian relics repurposed under fabricated histories. The Great Pyramid of Giza shares eerie similarities, precise mathematical constants, advanced acoustic properties, and evidence of energy manipulation, suggesting a shared technological lineage. Star forts, mislabeled as 16th to 18th century military structures, were harmonic stabilizers for a global energy grid, and the sudden obsession with obelisks in the 19th century was no Egyptian revivalism, but the reinstallation of ancient antennae. The Chicago Fair was ground zero for this deception, its destruction no accident. Multiple witnesses reported simultaneous fires erupting across the fairgrounds, a hallmark of controlled demolition, despite official claims of a single worker's lantern or electrical faults. Absurd given the involvement of the era's top electrical engineers. Surviving structures were stripped of their energy harvesting components, their spires removed, domes flattened, and interiors gutted to erase their original function. Architects like Daniel Burnham, the fair's chief designer, admitted in private journals to working from much older plans and receiving guidance from those who came before, while Louis Sullivan, the father of modernism, incorporated Tartarian motifs before. Denouncing the fair as a betrayal of true architecture, the Smithsonian's archives contain suspicious gaps where original fair blueprints should be, and modern restoration teams working on surviving fair buildings report electromagnetic anomalies near spires, with maintenance workers whispering of sealed chambers beneath foundations. The evidence is global. The Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. Petersburg and the U.S. Capitol building feature triple-layer foundations, suggesting multiple rebuilds after catastrophes, and underground tunnels connect key energy sites. Architectural elements, dismissed as decorative, align perfectly with energy harvesting functions. The fair's own records are damning. Impossible quantities of steel and glass, unavailable in the 1890s global market, were listed, and cranes lifted multi-ton stone blocks with primitive steam engines, hinting at harmonic levitation or anti-gravity tech. Tartarian buildings were not static monuments, but living systems, their materials revealing a lost science. Analysis of surviving structures shows stone composites with molecular alignment, suggesting exposure to harmonic frequencies during formation, and mortar with crystalline compounds designed to conduct energy. Many exhibit self-cleaning properties, resisting weathering and biological growth, while some change color subtly in response to atmospheric conditions or generate piezoelectric charges when vibrated. Deliberate design features indicating an understanding of materials science far beyond our own. These structures, placed at nodal points along ley lines, amplified natural currents, and their uncanny durability, withstanding earthquakes that topple modern buildings, suggests an interaction with forces we don't fully grasp. Fires attract lightning at statistically impossible rates, and residual electromagnetic fluctuations persist. Folk traditions around these sites preserve echoes of their purpose, legends of healing energies, strange lights, and mysterious sounds, with some cultures maintaining rituals mimicking Tartarian harmonic patterns. The suppression was systematic. Post-fair, any structure displaying Tartarian characteristics was demolished or repurposed as museums or government offices, their true nature hidden behind new facades. Modern historians dismiss the fair's rapid construction as human ingenuity, but the math doesn't add up. Hand-carved stonework, intricate metal casting, and precision assembly on that scale would be impossible with 1890s tools unless prefabricated components from an earlier age were used. The implications are staggering. If one building was constructed with lost technology, it rewrites history, but we're seeing a worldwide pattern. From the anomalous properties of Tartarian materials to the global eruption of identical architecture, we're looking at fragments of a civilization that mastered energies we're only beginning to comprehend. The Chicago Fair wasn't a celebration, but a controlled disclosure, reintroducing Tartarian tech under the guise of innovation before silencing it forever. Yet the energy remains. Visit these sites with the right equipment, and you'll detect electromagnetic anomalies. The building's compositions interact with forces we don't understand. The Tartarians were custodians of a forgotten science, merging architecture with nature, their legacy encoded in the structures they left behind. Rediscovering even a fraction of this knowledge could revolutionize energy production, materials science, and medicine. The greatest cover-up in history isn't about extraterrestrials or secret governments. It's about our own past, a chapter deliberately torn out. The Chicago Fair was both a display of the stolen heritage and a warning of what happens to knowledge that challenges the established order. The evidence persists in the precision of these impossible buildings, in the whispers of alternative histories, in the hum of ancient spires. The truth isn't lost, just hidden, waiting for those who dare to question the official narrative. These buildings are silent witnesses, speaking across centuries through their durability, their energy, their defiance of history's lies. Will we continue to accept the sanitized version of our past, or have the courage to acknowledge it may be far stranger and more magnificent than we've been told? Visit these sites, feel the pulse of the old world, share this story, and let the truth unravel. The Tartarian legacy is hidden in plain sight, encoded in the architecture that refuses to die. The choice is ours. Ignore the patterns or listen to the building's call. The future may depend on recovering what was lost.